Right now, as you're listening to these words, something extraordinary is happening. You're aware that you're hearing a voice, aware of the thoughts forming in your mind, aware of the space around you. But have you ever questioned what this awareness actually is? Is it just the product of your brain processing information? Or is there something far greater at play? Most people go through life experiencing only a fraction of what their consciousness is capable of. The thoughts running through their mind, the emotions guiding their choices, and the beliefs shaping their reality all seem automatic, as if they are fixed aspects of who they are. But what if they're not? What if your consciousness is not a single, static thing but a spectrum, one with multiple levels, each unlocking a deeper understanding of existence? Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Notice your current state of awareness. Where is your attention? Is it on your thoughts, your body, the sounds around you? Without realizing it, you just took the first step toward expanding your consciousness. Observing it. Humanity has always been drawn to the question of consciousness. Ancient sages, spiritual leaders, and modern scientists alike have sought to understand its true nature. Why? Because hidden within this mystery lies the secret to personal transformation. When you become aware of the different levels of consciousness, you gain the ability to shift your reality, not just in theory, but in a tangible, life-changing way. In this video, you'll discover the 12 levels of consciousness, a roadmap that has guided mystics, philosophers, and even cutting-edge researchers in their search for truth. By the end, you'll know exactly where you are in the spectrum and the steps you can take to move beyond your current limitations. And here's why that matters. Your level of consciousness shapes everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your interactions with others, and even your perception of time and space. It all stems from the level at which you are operating. If you feel stuck in patterns of stress, fear, or dissatisfaction, it's not because life is against you. It's because you haven't yet accessed the levels of awareness where true freedom and clarity exist. This journey isn't about belief. It's about direct experience. As we go through each level, you'll start recognizing patterns in your own life, moments where you've unknowingly moved between these states of consciousness. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The real question is, are you ready to expand beyond the consciousness you've known so far? Let's begin. Level 1. Physical survival. Stop for a moment and think back to a time when you were extremely hungry or exhausted. Maybe you hadn't eaten all day, or you pulled an all-nighter. In that state, how did your thinking change? Chances are, everything else faded into the background, and your mind fixated on one thing: survival. This is level 1 consciousness, the most primal and instinct-driven state of awareness. At this level, the only priority is staying alive. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions are controlled by the most fundamental needs: food, water, sleep, and physical well-being. When operating at this level, there is no deep reflection, no questioning of existence, no concern for long-term plans. There is only the present moment and the struggle to meet basic survival needs. This is why extreme hunger, exhaustion, or illness often makes people reactive, short-tempered, and unable to think beyond immediate relief. From an evolutionary perspective, this level of consciousness is essential. Our ancestors, living in harsh environments, had to prioritize food and safety above all else. But in today's world, very few people live in constant life-or-death situations. And yet, many remain trapped in this state, not because they lack resources, but because their minds have been conditioned to perceive life as a constant survival struggle. Think about it. Have you ever caught yourself obsessing over financial security, fearing you won't have enough, even when you do? Have you ever felt so drained that nothing else seemed to matter except getting through the day? These are signs that, even for brief moments, you have dropped into level 1 consciousness. The key to moving beyond this level is awareness. Recognizing when your mind is stuck in survival mode allows you to step back and regain control. Instead of reacting impulsively, you begin to observe your thoughts and realize that, more often than not, you are safe and survival is not actually at risk. Level 2. safety and security. Imagine waking up every day with a lingering sense of unease, worrying about the future. Thoughts like, what if I lose my job? What if something bad happens? If these thoughts feel familiar, you've experienced level 2 consciousness. At this level, survival is no longer an immediate concern, but fear still dominates. The mind shifts from what do I need right now to how do I protect myself from future threats. Even when there is no real danger, the brain constantly searches for potential risks, whether financial, emotional, or social. This level explains why people stay in jobs they hate, relationships that drain them, or routines that feel unfulfilling. The fear of uncertainty is stronger than the discomfort of stagnation. The mind tells us, at least I know what to expect here. Leaving might be worse. Modern society reinforces this mindset. The news floods us with stories of economic downturns, social instability, and potential disasters. Marketing plays on our insecurities, convincing us we need more to be safe. Fear becomes a habit. So how do you rise above level 2? By realizing that true security never comes from external conditions. No amount of money, possessions, or guarantees can eliminate uncertainty. The only way to break free is to develop an inner foundation of trust. Trust in yourself, in your ability to adapt, in the understanding that fear is often an illusion. One simple practice to shift beyond this level is questioning fear-based thoughts. The next time your mind spirals into what-ifs, ask yourself, is this fear real, or is it just a story my mind is telling me? More often than not, you'll find that the fear has no solid ground. Level 3, belonging and connection. Now, consider this. Why is social media so addictive? The answer lies in level 3 consciousness, the need for belonging. Humans are social creatures. From the earliest tribes to modern society, we have always sought connection. But at this level, our identity becomes dependent on the approval of others. This is why people chase likes, followers, and validation. It's not just about connection, it's about proving that we matter. This level shapes everything from the way we dress to the way we speak, to the choices we make in life. Many people stay stuck here because the fear of rejection is stronger than the desire for truth. They mold themselves to fit expectations, believing that if they just gain enough approval, they will feel complete. But here's the paradox. The more we seek validation, the emptier we feel, because external approval is never permanent. The moment we get it, we start fearing its loss. Breaking free from level 3 requires shifting from external validation to self-acceptance. It means realizing that true belonging doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being authentic. Ask yourself, do I make decisions based on what I truly want, or based on how I think others will perceive me? If the latter, it's time to start questioning the illusion of social approval. Once you recognize this, something shifts. You no longer chase connection, you cultivate it. You stop trying to fit into every space and start creating spaces where you belong naturally. The transition from level 3 to higher consciousness begins when you stop asking, do they accept me? And start asking, do I accept myself? Level 4, esteem and recognition. Take a moment to think about your biggest ambitions. What drives you? Is it the desire to prove yourself? To be recognized for your achievements? If so, you're familiar with level 4 consciousness. At this stage, the focus shifts from seeking connection to seeking significance. This is where the ego becomes the dominant force. People at this level are no longer just trying to fit in, they want to stand out. They crave validation, not just from their social circle, but from the world. This level is where ambition, competition, and personal success take center stage. It's the realm of career-driven individuals, entrepreneurs, performers, and influencers. The energy here is intense, and it's often celebrated by society. After all, isn't success the ultimate goal? But here's the paradox. The more you achieve, the more you realize it's never enough. No matter how many awards, promotions, or accolades you receive, there's always another level to reach. Many people who seem outwardly successful feel a deep sense of emptiness. The problem isn't achievement itself. The issue is attaching self-worth to achievement. When your identity is built on what you accomplish, failure becomes devastating. Even success feels hollow because it's rooted in the fear of losing status. So how do you break free from this level? By shifting from seeking recognition to seeking purpose. Instead of asking, "How can I be admired?" start asking, "What truly fulfills me?" A powerful exercise. If no one could ever see or acknowledge your success, what would you still choose to do? The answer reveals what matters beyond external validation. Moving beyond level 4 doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means redefining success, not as a measure of worth, but as an expression of what genuinely excites you. Level 5. Self-Actualization. What would you do with your life if no one else's opinion mattered? This question marks the beginning of Level 5 consciousness. This is where the shift from external validation to internal fulfillment begins. At this stage, people start questioning societal definitions of success. They realize that achievement is meaningless unless it aligns with their deeper purpose. This is the level described by Abraham Maslow as self-actualization. Here's what changes at level 5. Instead of chasing money for status, people pursue work that excites them. Instead of seeking relationships for validation, they seek meaningful connections. Instead of fearing failure, they embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. This is the level where people begin following their intuition, passions, and inner wisdom rather than external expectations. They may leave high-paying jobs to start creative ventures, turn down promotions to prioritize happiness, or seek knowledge simply for the joy of learning. At level 5, there is a deep sense of personal integrity. People no longer compromise their values for success. They define their own version of fulfillment. But the journey doesn't end here, because once you reach self-actualization, another realization emerges. Even the self you've been striving to actualize is just a construct. This realization marks the transition to the next level. Level 6, Transcendence. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever identified with, your name, your achievements, your beliefs, was just a temporary story. This is level 6 consciousness, the point where the ego begins to dissolve. At this level, the focus is no longer on what can I achieve, but rather who am I beyond my achievements. The external world becomes less important than the inner world. People begin to experience moments of profound insight where they feel connected to something far greater than themselves. The shift from level 5 to level 6 often comes from a sudden moment of realization. This could be triggered by meditation, a near-death experience, a deep personal loss, or simply an unexplainable feeling of expansion. People at this level often describe feeling a deep sense of peace, as if they are no longer separate from the world but part of something infinite. However, this level can also be unsettling. When the ego dissolves, the old sense of identity fades. Many people resist this transition because it feels like losing control. But the truth is, this is where true freedom begins. Because once you see through the illusion of separateness, you realize that you are not just an individual, you are consciousness itself. At level 6, the mind begins to open to the possibility that reality is far beyond personal perception. And this realization is what leads to the next, even more expansive stages of awareness. Level 7, Universal Connection. Right now, you probably see yourself as an individual, a separate mind in a separate body, interacting with other separate people. But what if that was just an illusion? At level 7 consciousness, this sense of separation begins to fade. Instead of seeing others as external beings, there's a deep realization that all consciousness is connected. People at this level start to notice something profound. Every interaction is a reflection of themselves. The kindness they offer to others feels like kindness to themselves. The judgments they hold toward others feel like judgments against themselves. A simple way to understand this level is through an ancient idea: what you do to another, you do to yourself. This isn't just a spiritual concept, it's backed by science. Researchers studying mirror neurons have found that our brains literally reflect the emotions and experiences of those around us. When we see someone in pain, the same areas of our brain activate as if we were experiencing it ourselves. This suggests that our awareness isn't confined to our own minds. It's deeply intertwined with others. At level 7, people begin to operate with a deep sense of empathy and unity. They no longer see themselves as just an individual navigating the world, but as a part of a vast, interconnected field of consciousness. Here's what changes at this stage. Relationships become more harmonious. Conflicts are seen as misunderstandings rather than personal attacks. Compassion becomes effortless. Helping others feels natural, not forced. Fear begins to dissolve. Because if all consciousness is connected, then there's nothing to truly fear. People at this level often feel drawn to healing work, community service, or creative expression that uplifts others. They no longer see success in terms of personal gain, but in terms of how much they contribute to the whole. However, even this deep sense of connection is not the final stage. Because once you experience unity with others, the next realization emerges. You are not just connected to life. You are life itself. Level 8. Cosmic Consciousness. If time is just a construct of human perception, what happens when you step beyond it? At level 8 consciousness, people begin to see reality in a completely new way. The usual concepts of past, present, and future start to dissolve. Instead of experiencing time as a linear path, they recognize it as a vast, interconnected flow. This is often called cosmic consciousness. People who reach this level report feeling as though they have stepped outside of time itself. They describe moments where everything feels like it's happening at once, where the boundaries between self and universe disappear. Many great thinkers throughout history have hinted at this experience. Albert Einstein once suggested that time is just a persistent illusion. Some of the most advanced spiritual traditions describe reality as a single, infinite moment, constantly unfolding. At this level, the mind begins to perceive reality as a vast field of energy, intelligence, and potential. The idea of separateness seems completely unreal. Everything feels like a single, continuous consciousness experiencing itself in infinite forms. This is where profound shifts happen. Fear of death dissolves. Because if consciousness is eternal, then there is no true ending. The world is seen as a reflection of the mind. Thoughts and reality are not separate. They influence each other constantly. A deep sense of trust emerges. Instead of trying to control life, people surrender to the flow of existence, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. However, this level can be overwhelming. Many people who reach it experience a complete shift in how they perceive reality. They may struggle to express what they feel because words simply can't capture it. This brings us to the next stage, the point where language, thought, and concepts themselves begin to lose their meaning. Level 9. Pure Awareness. What if there were a level of consciousness beyond thoughts, beyond identity, beyond even the need to understand? This is level 9. Pure Awareness. At this stage, the mind becomes completely silent. There are no distractions, no internal dialogue, just an all-encompassing awareness. It is a state of pure being, beyond words, beyond concepts, beyond even the need for experience itself. Many spiritual traditions describe this as the highest form of meditation, the moment when the mind completely merges with awareness itself. But here's the challenge. This state cannot be explained, can only be experienced. Those who reach level 9 describe it as a state of absolute presence, no past, no future, just the infinite now. The complete absence of fear, desire, or attachment. There is nothing missing, nothing to gain. An overwhelming sense of peace and completeness. However, the deeper someone moves into this level, the more they realize that even consciousness, as we understand it, is just another concept. This realization marks the transition to the final, most mysterious stages of consciousness, the levels beyond human understanding. Levels 10 to 12, beyond current understanding. What happens when consciousness expands beyond anything even the most enlightened beings have described? At levels 10 through 12, we step into the unknown, the levels of consciousness that go beyond human perception, beyond thought, beyond even the deepest spiritual realizations. For most people, even attempting to understand these levels feels like trying to grasp infinity with the human mind. It's as if a drop of water were trying to comprehend the entire ocean. Yet, mystics, sages, and even some modern scientists have hinted at these levels throughout history. At these stages, the very idea of an individual self dissolves completely. There is no longer a you experiencing reality, only pure, boundless awareness. Let's break down what little we can say about these final levels. Level 10. The void, the great silence. Imagine everything you've ever known, your thoughts, your emotions, even your sense of self, simply disappearing. At level 10, consciousness enters the void. This is described as an experience of absolute nothingness, not emptiness in a negative sense, but a state where there is simply nothing left to perceive. Many ancient traditions speak of this as the formless source from which all consciousness arises. The Tao Te Ching calls it the nameless. Hindu philosophy refers to it as Brahman, and some Buddhist traditions describe it as nirvana, the complete cessation of all identity and experience. But this isn't a state of unconsciousness, it is pure awareness without an object. There is no perception, no observer, no subject or object. Those who have experienced glimpses of this level describe the total absence of time, space, and form. Nothing exists as a separate thing anymore. A profound stillness beyond all understanding. This is the great silence described by sages and mystics, an experience of infinite potential. All of reality is seen as emerging from this void, but the void itself remains untouched. For many, this stage can be deeply unsettling because the mind cannot function here. There is no thought, no emotion, no experience, just being. Yet, beyond the void lies something even more profound. Level 11, infinite intelligence, the all-knowing awareness. If level 10 is the dissolution of everything, level 11 is the realization that everything is one unified intelligence. Here, consciousness does not return to a personal self. It recognizes itself as the infinite intelligence that underlies all of existence. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in science and philosophy have come from individuals who may have glimpsed this level. People describe it as an instant knowing, where all knowledge, all wisdom, all truths are available at once. At this stage, a reality is seen as an interconnected, intelligent whole. There is no randomness, only perfect order. Time, space, and matter are understood as mere projections of consciousness. All dualities dissolve. There is no right or wrong, good or bad, light or dark, only a single, infinite awareness expressing itself in infinite ways. Those who reach this level no longer seek answers. They realize that all questions and all answers arise from the same source. But even here, there is still one final step beyond. Level 12. The unnameable beyond consciousness itself. At level 12, even the idea of consciousness itself dissolves. This is the ultimate mystery, the final frontier. At this stage, no description is possible because language, thought, and even awareness itself cease to have meaning. There is no subject to experience anything. It is the ultimate state of non-duality, beyond all opposites, beyond existence and non-existence. Some traditions describe this as the state before creation itself. Others suggest that even calling it a level is misleading, because it is beyond all concepts. Here, consciousness does not just realize that it is infinite, it goes beyond the need to realize anything at all. Some call this the source, the absolute, the unknowable, but in truth it cannot be named, explained, or even pointed to. And yet, it is the foundation of all that is. The mind's limitations, why these levels are so difficult to grasp. At this point, some might wonder, how can we even discuss something that is beyond thought? The truth is, the human mind operates within limits, categorizes, separates, and analyzes. But these highest levels of consciousness go beyond all of that. Think of it like trying to explain color to someone who has been blind from birth. No matter how many words we use, no description can truly capture the experience. This is why every spiritual tradition, every mystic, and every enlightened being eventually reaches a point where words fail. And yet, throughout history, people have dedicated their lives to touching these final levels, even if they can never fully be explained. Which leads to the next, most important question. How can you personally move forward on this journey? Now that we've explored the 12 levels of consciousness, the most important question remains. Where do you currently stand, and how can you ascend to higher states? The truth is, no one stays at a single level permanently. Throughout your life, your consciousness shifts. You might experience moments of deep awareness and clarity, only to fall back into fear and survival mode the next day. This isn't failure, it's part of the process. Growth isn't about jumping from level 1 to level 12 overnight. It's about becoming aware of where you are and taking the right steps forward. Step 1. Self-assessment, identifying your current level. The first step in your journey is understanding where your consciousness is predominantly operating. Reflect on these questions. Do you often feel stuck in survival mode, focused only on basic needs like food, money, or safety? Levels 1 to 2. Are you deeply influenced by social approval and belonging, seeking validation from others? Level 3. Do you define your worth by achievements, status, or recognition? Level 4. Are you beginning to seek a higher purpose beyond external success? Level 5. Do you sometimes experience moments of deep connection and oneness with others? Level 7 to 8. Have you had glimpses of pure awareness, where thoughts stop and only presence remains? Level 9 and beyond. Your answers give you a clear starting point. There is no better or worse level. Each serves its purpose. The key is simply recognizing where you are and understanding the path forward. Step 2. Practical growth strategies for each level. Once you've identified your current level, the next step is using specific strategies to move upward. Levels 1 to 2. Overcoming fear and survival mode. At these levels, the focus is on basic survival and safety. If you often feel anxious, stressed, or fearful, your consciousness is being dominated by these lower levels. How to shift upward. Ground yourself in the present moment. Anxiety comes from worrying about the future. Simple breathing exercises or mindfulness can help break the cycle. A shift from scarcity to abundance. Recognize that fear of not having enough is a mental construct. Gratitude practices can rewire this mindset. Prioritize stability. If you're struggling with financial insecurity or personal safety, addressing these concerns is essential before deeper consciousness work. Levels 3 to 4. Moving beyond social approval and ego. Here, consciousness revolves around identity, belonging, and achievement. Social status, career success, and external validation feel essential. How to shift upward. Question your need for validation. Ask yourself, would I still do this if no one else ever knew? Limit social media influence. Platforms are designed to keep you locked in level 3 by triggering comparison and approval-seeking behaviors. Redefine success. Move away from seeking status and toward creating meaning. What truly fulfills you beyond external rewards. Levels 5 to 6. Expanding beyond the personal self. At these levels, the search for deeper meaning begins. Consciousness starts moving beyond ego and toward a sense of greater purpose. How to shift upward. Develop self-inquiry practices. Question deeply held beliefs and assumptions about reality. Focus on contribution. True fulfillment comes from giving, not accumulating. Find ways to serve others. Let go of attachments. The more you identify with temporary things, money, success, relationships, the harder it is to reach transcendence. Levels 7 to 9. Strengthening universal awareness. At these higher levels, the focus shifts toward oneness, interconnectivity, and deep presence. How to shift upward. Practice deep stillness. Meditation isn't just a practice, it becomes a way of being. Dissolve the illusion of separation. Recognize that you are not separate from others. The more love and compassion you cultivate, the more expansive your consciousness becomes. Live in surrender. The higher levels are not reached through effort but through letting go. Trust the intelligence of life itself. Levels 10 to 12, the final shift beyond thought. At these final levels, consciousness transcends even awareness itself. Few people experience these states permanently, but glimpses of them can transform everything. How to move toward these levels. Release all concepts. The mind will never grasp the final truths because truth is not a thought, but an experience. Surrender completely. The more you try to reach the highest levels, the further away they seem. Paradoxically, you reach them by stopping all seeking. Accept the mystery. The deepest truths are not learned, but remembered in moments of pure stillness. Step 3. Daily practices to expand your consciousness. No matter what level you're at, certain daily habits can accelerate growth. Here are 5 simple practices that can gradually expand your awareness. 1. Presence check-ins, 1 minute per hour every hour. Pause for just 60 seconds. Notice your breath, your surroundings, and the present moment. This trains the mind to stay conscious rather than reactive. 2. Conscious observation. 5 minutes daily, spend 5 minutes observing something. Your breath, a candle flame, a tree. Simply watch without labeling. This strengthens pure awareness. 3. Gratitude reflections. Before sleep each night, list 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts consciousness away from lack and into expansion. 4. Silence practice. 10 minutes daily, sit in absolute silence. No music, no distractions. Just listen to the stillness. This deepens your connection to higher awareness. 5. Mindful action. Throughout the day, whatever you do, eating, walking, washing dishes, do it with full attention. This transforms every moment into a spiritual practice. The key is consistency. These are not just techniques, they are a way of life. Over time, these small shifts create profound transformation. Step 4. Compassionate progress. Why judging your level misses the point. One of the biggest obstacles on this path is judging yourself. If you recognize that you're operating at a lower level, you might feel frustrated or impatient. But judgment itself is a sign of ego of level 4 consciousness. The truth is, there is no better or worse level. Each stage serves a purpose. Even survival mode has its role. The key is to approach your journey with patience, curiosity, and self-compassion. There is no rush. You are already exactly where you need to be. Your consciousness is not fixed. It is a river, always flowing, always evolving. The journey to higher awareness is not about reaching a final destination. It is about awakening, moment by moment, to the truth of who you are. Now, ask yourself, what level do you believe you're operating from today? What small shift can you make to move upward? What would your life look like if you lived from the highest version of yourself? Your journey is already unfolding. The next step is yours to take.